All right, good evening, ladies. Oh, some of y'all kind of weak. Good evening, ladies. There we go. And to the few gentlemen that are with us, good evening to you as well. Ladies, we're going to have you stand right now. We're going to have you find someone that you do not know. Tell them your name, get their name, and do not forget that name. Are you ready? Here you go.
We often get I'm Desiree.
Hello. Hi, my name is Lulu.
Desiree.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Here we go. Woo.
Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever. Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever. People from every nation and tongue, from generation to generation, we worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. We worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. You are good.
Yes, he is. So good. Here we go.
Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever. Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever. People from every nation and tongue, from generation to generation, we worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. We worship you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are.
Because
You are good. Woo!
yeah.
So good, so good. Yes, you are, yes, you are, yes, you are.
We say
You are good all the time, and all the time. You are good, you are good all the time, and all the time. You are good, you are good
say
all the time,
all the time.
and all the time. You are good, you are good all the time, and all the time. You are good.
Hand clap. He's so good. He's
He's so good.
more than everything, God. You're
He's so good.
Come on. We worship you, God.
Come on.
Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever. Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever. Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever.
Forever and ever.
Lord, you are good and your mercy endureth forever. People from every nation and tongue, from generation to generation, we worship you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you
Lord.
Hallelujah.
Yes, Lord. We worship.
God is so good. How many of you are redefining your lives so that your life will look more like Jesus?
That's right.
Is it easy? It's not easy. But God's got us right here. Come on.
My desire is to please you, to be more and more like you, Jesus. Each and every day I lift my hands and say, I want to be more like you, Jesus. My desire is to please you, to be more and more like you, Jesus. Each and every day I lift my hands and say, I want to be more like you. I give you my life. Take me in your arms and hold me, Jesus. I give you my heart. I know that you can mend these broken pieces. Jesus, I'm totally committed to you. I'm totally committed to you. Jesus, my desire is to please you, to be more and more like you, Jesus. Each and every day I lift my hands and try so hard. I want to be more like you. I want to be like you. I give you my life. Take me in your arms and hold me, Jesus. I give you my heart. I know that you can mend these broken pieces. Jesus, I'm totally committed to you. I'm totally committed to you.
Come on. Be sincere about it. Just look up the Lord and you're going to say, I love you. Are you ready? How many of you mean it when you say, I love you?
I love you, God.
How many of you really mean when you say, I love the Lord? Come on. Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
2.
Yes, Lord.
I love you, Lord. Love you, Lord. I love you. I love you. Love you.
I love you.
Love you.
I love you.
Oh, I love you, Lord.
Love you.
I love you.
I love you. I love you. I love you, Jesus. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
One more time.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
We
Thank
worship
you,
you, God.
Jesus. Thank you, Father. Thank you.
How you ladies doing? Woo! I'm tired. Come on.
Yep. Come on.
Spend today in a conversation in the mirror, face to face with somebody less than perfect. I wouldn't choose me first if I was looking for a champion. In fact, I'd understand it. You picked everyone before me, but that's just not my story. True to who you are, you saw my heart and made something out of nothing. be a lion. I roar beyond the song, and every moment that I'm gone. Who you are, you saw my heart and made something out of nothing. I don't need my name in lights. I'm famous in my Father's eyes. Make no mistake, He knows my name. I'm not living for applause. I'm already so adored. It's all His stage. He knows my name. Oh, oh, woo. He knows my name. Oh, oh. Come on, girls, come on. He calls me chosen, free, forgiven, wanted, child of the King. His forever, held in treasure. I am loved. I don't need my name in lights. I'm famous in my Father's eyes. Hey, I don't need my name in lights. I'm famous in my Father's eyes. Make no mistake, He knows my name. I'm not living for applause. I'm already so adored. It's all His stage. He knows my name. I'm not living for applause. I'm already so adored. It's all His stage. He knows my name. He knows my name. All right, ladies, you learned a new name tonight. The person whose name you learned tonight, right now, on the count of 3, I want you to yell out that person's name, because now God has placed their name in your heart, and that's the person that you're going to have to pray for the rest of this month. Amen? Until our next chosen meeting, you are going to pray for that person. So are you ready? 1, 2, 3. He knows my name. He knows my name. Jesus, I'm not living for applause. I'm already so adored. It's all His stage. He knows my name. Give God the glory.
Hallelujah.
Woo!
God is so good, amen.
All the time.
Go ahead, turn to somebody. Give somebody a hug first before you go ahead and sit down. Give somebody a hug and then check your eyes out to the screen. Isn't there a video now? Yes. Just kidding. Nothing's coming out. Oh, there you go.
I'm not on the big screen. I'm right here. Hi, ladies. Hi, chosen ladies. That's much better. Welcome tonight. I'm glad that you made it here. I'm glad that you conquered the storm and got out and came and joined us tonight. Hey, I just played. I have a few quick announcements and then I'll be out of your way. The first one is Roots Groups. How many have you signed up for a Roots Group? Okay, so listen, there are Roots Groups every night of the week, so there really is no excuse. So if you haven't signed up for a Roots Group, I want to encourage you to continue to do so. How many of you know that sometimes we don't join groups because we're scared, we're not familiar, we don't know anybody? So if you are here tonight and you say, I have not joined a Roots Group because I'm not sure, I don't know if I want to take that step, I don't know anybody, I have not yet joined a Roots Group. So I'll make you a deal. If for some reason you have not joined a group because you are scared to go alone or you don't know anybody or you're allowing fear to stand in the way of you growing and fellowshipping with others, Let me know what Roots group works for you, and I will join you, and that's the group that I'm going to pick, okay? So you can email me, lily@crossoverchurch.org. Look at the list, say this night works for me, this night works for me. Whichever works for you, I will go with you, and that we'll start the group together, okay? So let me know, because I have to sign up by this week as well, okay? Because I have to join this week too. They start this week, so we're a little late. And we're doing the Transform series, which allows you to grow spiritually, physically, mentally, all that good stuff that we know we need and sometimes don't want to take the steps to make it. So don't be one of those people, okay? Now, how many of you signed up for the Chosen Retreat? Hey, okay. Well, if you're ready to get away and connect with God and others, we are leaving Thursday, March 12th at 6 p.m. So you can still work Thursday and come after work. We're leaving at 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 12th. You get 5 meals, transportation, 2 nights of lodging, a whole lot of all of this, and it's only $125, okay? So you have a few more weeks till the final payment is due on the 28th. Make sure that you stop by the table today to leave your deposit of $5, $10, a watch, whatever you have. But listen, you have until the 28th. So I was really thinking about this, Lucy, and I didn't talk to you about this earlier. So we were talking about maybe what some of the obstacles are for why, women haven't fully registered. And I think the common one that I hear is finances. So I was thinking about all the stuff I have in my house and all the stuff that everybody else probably has in their house. So I would think you'd have 2 weeks to come up with a garage sale, post stuff on Craigslist. Maybe there's a piece of jewelry that you really don't need anymore that you can sell. Just to come up with the funds to really invest in yourselves and invest in your journey. So don't let finances be an obstacle. Be creative, step outside the box, and sacrifice if you need to be able to go to this retreat, okay? That's my little lecture on that. And if you really can't go for some reason, some ungodly reason that you really can't go, not like finances or, a birthday or baby shower or anything like that. But if it's a legit reason that you can't go and you want to sponsor somebody else, you can do that as well at the table. Singles night out, Rosetta, is on the 20th. It is on February 20th at 6:30 with guest Brooke Marie. If you are dating, single, not married, that night is for you. And if you're married, then we need to come and serve the singles because they're always doing everything for us, okay? Watching our kids, praying for our marriages. So we too should be here that night to support. So if you're interested, you can see Rosetta afterwards. She'll be out in the lobby as well on the 20th of this month. So you probably have surpassed anything that I said. You probably don't remember half of it except for the garage sale and going to group with you. So just a recap, retreat is in March. Get more information. Roots group, this is your last week. Don't say that you're not growing and you don't have any friends. This is your opportunity, okay? And singles night out is the 20th. I love you guys. Check out this spoken word.
And God said, it was not good for man to be alone, so he created you. But somewhere along the line, someone changed your perspective, shifted your view. Like Eve, you listened to the wrong voice and took a huge, tasty bite of deception. Now your stomach's upset because your spirit won't digest it. No longer the woman that walks in the confidence of ultimate artistic design. Submit your name change. We'll call you Compromise. This is what happens when your gospel is according to whoever's at the top of your playlist and the media has become your Bible, searching scriptures of magazines to be told who you are, dancing lead in Satan's recital. But you are not her, and she is not you. Because we are called to so much more than makeup, hair, clothes, and shoes, and dropping it like it's hot, even if we're able to. We are women of a different status. 31 to be exact. We are content with not looking like anyone else because we know our differences are not a reason to be jealous, but God's fingerprint. We don't run around talking about how there are no good men. We know if we apply half as much effort on the inside as we do on the out, we'll stop drawing the wrong attention. Slow to speak, quick to listen. Receiving intervention from a higher dimension, seeking purpose, watching our God-given visions come to fruition, never forgetting that we have been forgiven much. So we eat, we live, we breathe, we give, we even sweat love. Always ready to hear from the women with silver hair. Seeds have been sown, and their wisdom saturates our soil, clipping our dead ends for growth. You'll find us always promoting unity, serving in our communities, using our gifts and talents as an all glory to God opportunity. Wake up in the morning with the grind for the Most High on our mind, constantly being refined to be the exact of our architect's design. We have no hearts. So here's the answer before the question. Any man who wants a heart will go to Christ knowing it's in his possession. Yes, we are beautiful and barefoot in the kitchen of grace, pregnant with purpose, baking up praise. Jesus is who we crave, awaiting to come to full term so we can deliver back what has been deposited, knowing good and well one day we all will be audited. Mercy gives us second chances so we ain't receive what we ought to get. We needed an intervention. Christ came to do loss prevention. On a cross, he was stretched and fully extended. And we were given an extension. Hear me. An extension. Hear me. Because this price was worth far more than your finest Indian Remy. I know we can change the things we don't like all for a simple cost. But Botox, lipo, and implants ain't got nothing on what was accomplished on that cross. Because you can't implant in yourself a new spirit, or lipo suck away your sin. You can't lap band your addictions, and you can't Botox away your depression. We all need him. It's time to change your status. 31 to be exact. Don't be afraid of what's abstract. Let the Spirit of God be what attracts. We are women of a different status. This world we will impact. We are women of a different status. 31 to be exact.
How many want to be women of different status? 31 status to be exact. And so I know that we all strive to be that woman in the Bible. And of course, we can't do it alone. We can't do it on our own. We need God's help. We need God's strength. And we also need each other in order to accomplish that. So ladies, welcome here tonight. I'm glad to see you guys, especially like Lily said, just weathering the storms out there, because the whole day it's been raining. And let me tell you, I've been praying since yesterday. Lord, please, no rain. As soon as I found out it was going to be rain, I was like, please, no rain, no rain. And so he let it rain. So that was his will, not mine at all, especially since this is the third Monday night service that we have that it rains. So obviously, the enemy knows that we're doing something good here. And so God's still going to get the glory. God's still going to get the shine. So today, it's going to be a little bit different, as you can tell. I'm going to have some people that are going to be joining me. But first, I wanted to share what's coming up this weekend. Valentine's Day on Saturday. It's, the day of love and, all that, good stuff. And for some of you guys, that might be a good thing. Like, you're happy, you're excited about it. Some of you guys just may hate it. You don't even care about it. So everyone's going to be different depending on where you're at. Some of you might be single, and so you're, not really into Valentine's Day, and you're married, and you're either happily married or you're not happily married. So it kind of depends. But I know that Valentine's Day, it's known for the commercials, for the candy. What else? What else do you see? Flowers, teddy bears, fruit baskets, candy, yes, chocolate candy. What about the cute pajamas with hearts on them? So we see all that, right around this time. But I also know what we see a lot of, and maybe not physically with our eyes, but I know that there's going to be women looking for love this weekend. There's going to be women looking for, in specific, some type of tangible item that's going to let her know that she's worth something, that she's valuable. Especially if you have a significant other, then you're going to expect it and probably even demand it. But you know what? There's something greater about Valentine's Day. And it's not even about Valentine's Day. It's the fact that God is the one who sent his son to die on the cross for us. So there's nothing wrong with Valentine's Day, but it's the focus that we have, the motivation behind Valentine's Day. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31, that there's a more excellent way. There's a more excellent way, and he's referring to God's love. He's referring to the fact that God created each and every one of us in his image. And if God is love and we love God, then we have love inside of us, but it's God's perfect love. But the problem is that we go out seeking the wrong kinds of love. We go out seeking physical attention and physical touch, in specific from men and from others. And when we don't get that, we get frustrated. When we don't get that, then we engage in inappropriate behaviors. We engage in unhealthy relationships, even sexual relationships, because it's all in the name of love. And so this weekend, you're going to have a lot of people out there looking for love, seeking that love, whether it's through an item, whether it's chocolate or a gift or something. You just want something. But let me tell you that instead of conforming to the patterns of this world, why not be transformed and do something different? See, we need to be able to trust in God. And if we say we love God, then we need to have confidence in God's perfect love, a more excellent way, a more excellent love. And if you're able to trust in God and have confidence in his way, then we'll be able to make better choices, better decisions. And one of the ways of doing that is guarding our minds, guarding our bodies, and guarding our hearts as well. And so today I have 3 special speakers that are going to join me on stage, and we're going to tackle these 3 different areas about guarding ourselves. And so please help me welcome Rosetta, Miss Jennifer, and Bobby. Okay, so I know not everyone knows, everyone that's up here. Hold on, let me take my phone off from my pocket here. So we're going to start with Rosetta, because you're the first one right here. So basically, just an introduction. Just, I already said your name, so you don't have to say your name. But what you do here, because not everybody probably knows what you're, doing here, and how long you've been at Crossover.
Well, to not say my name again, but
Rosetta.
I served in First Impressions. That was my first ministry I started serving in. I also serve with Focus, who is it's our singles ministry, and we put together our singles night outs and things like that, other events. And I'm also part of Chosen now, as in the beginning of the year. I've been coming to Crossover, I would say probably about 1.5 years. Not very long, honestly, but I would say about 6 months after I came to Crossover, that was it. I was like, you know what, I need to be a member. I need to be involved. I need to be plugged in. Yep. With all y'all crazy ladies. I was
Okay. So you said like 1.5 years? Mm-hmm. 1.5 years, and look at everything that she's doing already here at the church. So thank you for that.
No problem.
And so next, you should know Miss Jennifer.
So I'm the kids director here at Crossover. I've been attending since I moved to Tampa in 2009, and I just never left. So here I am.
And now we won't let you leave.
And yeah, I can't leave. So
And next we have, not everyone knows,
The new girl.
new kid on the block.
You know my husband as Pastor Chris, the new executive pastor. I have been at Crossover just over a month, so I'm the new lady, and this is only my second chosen, and I'm on the stage. So I'm going to be watching you guys, I know. So.
Yep, that's how we do it here. If I know that you can share something, then I'm going to put you on the spot. So watch out.
run.
Or if you know that we need growth in that area, right, Lucy? She's
Yes.
all about helping us grow.
Yes, helping you guys grow. So I invited these ladies to be up here. They didn't have much choice, but I'm going to say that I invited them because it just sounds better, I think. But Rosetta, I want her to share on what it is to guard your mind. What does that look like? What can you let the ladies know when it comes to guarding your minds?
Well, for me, it started with not necessarily surrendering because I fell. It was more so about surrendering intentionally. Making it a point to say, you know what, at the point I am in my life right now, I choose to, everything that I have, everything that I think, everything that I want to do, I want to ask God what it looks like. So I read a quote that said, make your focus so clear that your fears become irrelevant. And for me, that's something that, you know, I think about that every day. And I pray to God, not necessarily for just for my problems to be over, but I pray for solutions to resolve my problems. Like, if I feel like I'm going to be sad, or if I feel like I'm going to be depressed, or if I feel like I'm going to be going somewhere I'm not supposed to go, or do something I'm not supposed to do, you know, I say, God, what else can I do? Where else do I need to be? Who needs to talk to me? Who can I pick up the phone and call and things like that? I spend a lot of time with my sisters. And, you know, I'm very, very grateful for them. I'm very, very grateful for them because just being normal women, we all have a lot to learn from each other, and we're at different points in our lives. And so I'm blessed to have accountability in that way. And then there was something that Pastor Tommy spoke on this week. It's so funny because yesterday he was reading my mind with the highways and stuff. I'm like, why would he say that? That was my line. But he said, you know, the more you think a thought, it becomes how you feel. And then when it becomes how you feel, it becomes your action. So I have to think, you know, I don't want to be in this place, so I'm not going to think that way. And the more and more I don't think that way, the more and more I don't do certain things. So for me, it was just all about, you know, 2 Corinthians verse 10:5, you know, capturing each thought and presenting it to God. What would he think about it? And I really just took that into my life. And it's not easy. And I don't not have fear, but my fears are even different now. My fears aren't, you know, what would my friends or so-called friends think of me, or, you know, what will my coworkers or what people look at me as. It's more so about what would God say about that? You know, how is this next step going to shape my path? Who is this going to impact in my life before I make an action? So guarding my mind is just really more so of capturing every thought and presenting it to what God would think.
Okay. And I'm going to interject real quick because you mentioned something, and that was accountability, which we all need accountability in our lives. But in order to accountability to work, you have to give them permission to speak into your life, to speak, you know, the truth into your life. So I'm assuming that's one thing that you did, you know, do to get to this point. And I'm sure that you're giving yourself permission as well to write these thoughts down and then make sure that you have a plan in place for that.
Absolutely. Like when I think about my goals, I'm very introspective anyway. So I'm always writing something down, and I love creative ways to write things down as far as poetry and things like that are concerned. So I do have plans as far as my accountability partners, my sisters. They already have permission. It was like we were born and then you had permission. So, so yes, but it's also, you have to find the right people. You can't necessarily surround yourself with just anybody, you know, oh, she looks like a good person and things like that. No, you got to find the right person that you can speak to, somebody that's going to speak life into you as well as you can pour into as well. So, yeah.
Some good stuff there. So guarding your mind is not only the accountability, but taking your thoughts captive. So that was very key and very good. So now what about, Jennifer, when it comes to guarding your body?
Well, that was something that it took me forever to understand, and I'll be honest. And I grew up in the church, and so to understand it, for you guys to understand where I learned it from, we have to go back to like elementary school. It's totally weird. So go back to elementary school, and I was this really chunky Girl Scout, and I was totally a loser, and that was okay in elementary school. But then when you went to middle school, like I was the dorkiest kid. ever. Like, people made fun of me to the point where, like, I started getting bullied online. And so I remember my 6th grade year that I told myself, 7th grade year, I'm going to be awesome, and I'm going to be so great. And so that summer, I started battling with anorexia, and I started battling with body image and weird stuff. And I came back to school the first day of 7th grade, and suddenly I was the most popular girl in school. And so that one day taught me that my body had value, not godly value to the world, but it showed me that I had some bondage going on. And so that day, throughout the next 8 years of my life, I started adding more bondages and more chains and more things, and I became so sexually active and so promiscuous, and I went from one relationship to another. From 5th grade, y'all, I had never been single until I was, when did I move? Until I was almost 19. I had not been single for longer than a month. I always had a boyfriend. I could not be single because I didn't understand who I was. Even though I went to church and I learned Jesus loves me, yes, he does, and all those things, I didn't get it. And so I came to Crossover, and God had told me, you've got to commit, fully commit, not this halfway in and out stuff. And so I said, okay, God. And so he took me through leaving a really long-term relationship I was in, and then I was on this great singleness kick, and I lived with a roommate who was really awesome. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I was doing great, and temptation came along. And I met this really attractive guy, and he was great. And the Bible says to flee from temptation, but I'm a fighter. So I was like, no, God, I'm going to fight temptation, and we got this, and we're going to duke it out, and I'm going to win. And one night I didn't. And I fell with somebody, a godly man, right? And I remember sitting in somebody's office and crying and weeping, and I lost my friends, and I lost everything. And God took me to this story in Luke 7, and I encourage you guys to read it later. It's at the bottom of Luke 7, a really small story about this woman. And Jesus went to lunch with a Pharisee. A Pharisee invited him over, and Jesus went, and he walked in, and then this lady, a really sinful lady, came in and started washing his feet and kissing him and pouring oil. And the Pharisee was thinking, if Jesus was a prophet, he would know that this lady should not be touching him. And Jesus said, hey, let me tell you a story. And in those moments when Jesus tells stories, I listen because I know it's about to get real. And so he started telling this story about these 3 men, and one of them loaned money to 2 of them. And one was 50 pieces of silver, another was 500, and neither one of them could pay him back. And so the owner, he said, look, your debt it's canceled. And Jesus said to the Pharisee, hey, who do you think loved me more, or loved them more? Who do you think was more grateful? And the guy was like, of course, the one who had 500 owed. And Jesus said, then yes, look at this woman. Her sin is so great, and she's got a lot of sin, but you know what? I walked into this house, and she kissed my feet. You didn't even greet me. And so in that moment that I fell, and I lost everything, y'all, it was just a horrible season of my life, and Lucy knows, and he reminded me that my sin was still forgiven. And it was a hard day, and it was a hard months and months, and so through that, every night I would read that story, and then I got closer to God again, and this walk came, and I started feeling the chains started falling down, and I went to India, and I read this really great book called Passion and Purity. If you haven't read it, please do. And I remember coming back from India. And so at this point in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, all my chains are broken. Me and God, I'm not doing nothing, not getting naked with anybody again. And lo and behold, this handsome man came back around and wanted to take me on a date. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. And one of my dear friends came to me and said, you're afraid of something. You deserve to be loved. You're afraid. And I was like, I'm not afraid of anything, but okay. So I went home and I prayed to God, and I said, God, what am I afraid of? And he said, you're afraid to pick up that bondage again. And it hurt, because I knew that bondage of my first day in 7th grade, when I was suddenly the coolest kid around, and my body had so much value to me. I told God I didn't want to sin again, and so I figured I'll just be single forever, and I'll be a monk in India, and it will work. But it didn't play out that way, and so he told me I had to do some things. And in 1 Corinthians 16, it says to be alert and to be strong. And so I said, okay, being alert, well, what do you mean? Well, if you're an alcoholic, you don't go have a sandwich in a bar, right? You don't do that. So for me, what does being alert look like for my body? And one of the things was creating boundaries. And so if I was going to go on a date, I had to figure out what time I was going to be home, where was I allowed to go, and doing all those things. But boundaries for myself wasn't enough. I needed accountability. And so I had a really super awesome accountability partner. And when I tell you she was so awesome, she annoyed me how much she held me accountable. Like, she would text me when I was out, like, where are your hands? It's sorry over there, so thank her. A hand check. But people say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a godly woman. And what God started showing me through courting, and so like me and VJ made really strange boundaries. Like, we didn't kiss, and we didn't like stay the night over each other's houses. And people thought we were weird. My family thought I was really a strange creature. But we stayed pure through that whole time. And a year and a half later, we ended up getting married, and God has blessed us. But being pure isn't for yourself. It's a journey that you do with sisters. And if I didn't have Sori there to do that weird stuff, there would have been times that I would have been fighting that temptation, but it was the fleeing that helped. So thanks, Sori.
That's awesome. So we hear through, when it comes to guarding your body, that you have to set up boundaries in place. And the thing is that when you set them up, you also have to be consistent. And then the other key word that showed up again was accountability. We need accountability, not only to guard your mind, but also your body as well. And we also know that Scripture says that your body is a temple of the Lord. And so we have to protect it. You have to protect it. And if it means that you have to be that strict with yourself, that you set your own curfew when it came to dating and not being alone. And I mean, I know that they did that. I've known other couples that have gone to that extreme because they did not want to fall into temptation. But when you have a heart for God, you will do whatever it takes to do His will. So thank you, Jennifer, for that. And so now we have our newbie with us, Bobby. And Bobby's going to share about guarding your heart.
I am, and thank you guys for sharing and leading up to this point. I took it a little bit differently. I was just, when Lucy asked me to speak on guarding my heart or how we guard our heart, I was just reflecting on God's word and what He has to say about our hearts. And specifically, Proverbs 4:23, I didn't want to fumble through my Bible when I'm nervous, so I wrote all my stuff up here. But Proverbs 4:23 says, "Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course for your life." I mean, that's heavy. It's pretty self-explanatory, too. And if you think about that, even in a physical sense, like I know up here we're talking about thinking, feeling, and stuff, but we all have hearts beating in us. It sends the blood where it needs to go in our bodies, and I'm not sure that any of us would be able to function without it. Or if it wasn't working properly, we would be in big trouble. And I don't think anybody on earth is functioning without a heart, unless it's like a man-made replication, something that, because our heart is not working. So it's a tremendously important part of us, and the Bible's clear about that. And I have to repeat what Tommy said yesterday, because it ties completely into what we're talking about. He said, the way we think determines the way you feel, and the way you feel determines the way you act. And they're very interconnected, and so the heart is the feel part of it, and your heart's tremendously valuable. Just know that you guys, each one of you, you're in a different place, you've been through different stuff, or you're currently going through something. Your heart is so treasured, it's valuable, and you need to know that, and because it's valuable, it's a target. People don't go into Dollar Tree. I just threw that out of nowhere. But they don't go in there to rob unless they're robbing the cash, because they want what's valuable, right? So it's valuable, and it's going to come under attack because it's important to God, and the enemy knows that. Another thing that the Bible says about the heart is Proverbs 21:2. People may be right in their own eyes, but the Lord looks at their heart. So He knows what's going on in here, even if we try to front like everything else is good. And again, in 1 Samuel 16:7, the Lord said to Samuel, "The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at your heart." And I'm not saying that we should walk around not keeping ourselves nice, because of course we want to do that as well, and that helps us. But that should be an outward, all the pretty jewelry out there y'all are going to swap, that should be the outward reflection of what's going on in here. You should be so full of love and joy, that it shows on the outside. So the other thing that I was thinking and reflecting on my own, I didn't do a very good job of guarding my heart, and God really worked on me with that. And I found this awesome quote, because a lot of people think, okay, if I don't put myself out there, if I just don't do anything, kind of like Jen said, I'll go be a monk. And then I don't have to worry about my body issue, whatever your issue is. It's like, okay, if I don't want my heart to be broken, I'll just close it up really tight, and then nobody can get at it, we'll be good. C.S. Lewis was in a book called The Four Loves, and he had something really interesting to say that I really wanted to share with you tonight. It says, to love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything, and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, your heart will change. It won't be broken. It'll become unbreakable, impenetrable, and irredeemable. To love is to be vulnerable. That's not going to work, y'all. We were made to love. God put that in us. He gave us our hearts on purpose, and He is our example of ultimate love. Guarding your heart does not mean preventing yourself from hurt. Guarding your heart means reserving the innermost part for God and giving that innermost peace just to Him, and filling yourself daily with what you need to guard that heart. And then, it's going to come out in your marriage. For my example, I have such love and respect for my husband. He guards my heart. I guard his heart. We're a team, and I'm thankful that God put a man like that in my life, that we're there for each other. So those were my big ones.
No, that was some good stuff, right there. And Bobby, one of the things, I love that quote that you shared, at the end. But there was something that you said in the beginning that stuck out to me, and that was that your heart is a target. Your heart is a target. The enemy comes to lie, steal, and destroy. And if your heart is a target, believe it or not, he will go after your heart. He will go after your heart, so you have to protect it. You have to guard it. But just like Bobby said, it doesn't mean that, you protect it from everything, no kind of pain, no one's, allowed in there. When we love others, doesn't matter who, when we love others, you're always taking a risk, because someone at some point is bound to hurt you or disappoint you. So loving others means taking risks. But that was great, because you don't want to get too hard to the point where you don't love, because God commands us to love, and we were made to love. So that was awesome. Can you give it up for these ladies? Thank you, ladies, for sharing. And but in closing this part, of it, and of course, talking about purity and Valentine's, again, let me just, reiterate, it's not that Valentine's Day is bad. There's nothing wrong with celebrating, love, or celebrating friendships, or, each other. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just think we have to be careful. What are you seeking for Valentine's Day? What is it? Because if anything, it's God's love, and that should be something that we seek every day, period, not just Valentine's Day, but seeking God's love. And Tommy shared this yesterday when we talked about conforming and transforming. Now, we can follow what everyone else is doing, and again, there's nothing wrong with chocolate. I think chocolate is one of the best things, in the world. But if you're craving chocolate, if you're craving affection, if you're craving a card, if you're craving, flowers, all that is just going to wither away eventually. It's not going to last. But why not invest? Why not focus on expressions of love that you know have eternal value, that you know are going to last? And so today we also have someone who happens to be a teenager, and she's going to show her expression of love through a dance piece. That's one way of showing, our expressions. There's different gifts and talents that are represented in this room. We're also going to hear about a mentoring program. We're also going to learn about the House of Hope, where everything that's left over tonight is going to a shelter. We're going to, talk about that. There's so many other creative things that we can do besides thinking about ourselves. Besides, sometimes Valentine's Day can be just a little bit self-centered and self-focused when we think about it. And we don't want to be self-centered. We don't want to conform. We want to be transformed by God's love. So I'm going to ask Aaliyah to come up. Is she back there or up here? I'm not sure where she's at. She's back here. So I'm going to have Aaliyah come up, and you guys give it up for one of our teens.
I used to be so broken, lost, empty. A heart with no beat, a singer with no song to sing. So I know the feeling, the silence is deafening. But in your pain lies a blessing, a sweet and sour victory. So keep walking, 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 though it seems so far. No matter who you are, see there's one thing that I know. Life, it can leave you so bitter, 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 bitter. But you must believe that it gets better, 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 better. It's alright, dry your eyes, send a prayer to the sky. I know it's hard to find, but you must believe that it gets better. Listen to me. I know you're scared, your heart's bleeding. But what are you gonna do now? I think it's time you break free and keep walking, 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 though it seems so far. No, it doesn't really matter who you are. See, there's one thing that I know. Life, it can leave you so bitter, 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 bitter. But you must believe that it gets better, 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 better. It's alright, dry your eyes, send a prayer to the sky. I know it's hard to find, but you must believe that it gets better, better, was almost done. I wanted to die from how I was done wrong. I cried out every night looking for a helping hand. That's when it happened. Jesus took me and he held me close, gave me love, refilled my heart, helped me grow better because his love it made me always available. Anytime, try him out, he'll change your life. See, I know that, yeah, life it can leave you so bitter, 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 bitter. But you must believe that it gets better, better, better. Yeah. Life it can't leave you so bitter, 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 bitter. But you must believe that it gets better, better. Oh, it gets better. Better, so much better. Better, it gets better. If you only believe, so much better. Yeah.
Hi, ladies. I am so excited. This is the first time that I've gotten to come to Chosen. And it's not because I don't want to, but it's because on Monday nights, I do a community youth group with high-risk children in the neighborhood. So my choice, my heart would love to be here, but my choice is to be there to minister to them. So I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions. If you have a good sense of humor, if you think you have a good sense of humor, I want you to stand up. If you don't, stay seated. If you're a good listener, stand up. If you are a forgiving person, stand up. If you're a loyal and committed person, stand up. If you're open-minded, stand up. And if you're honest, stand up. I think most of you are standing now. And that means that you would make a wonderful mentor for somebody. So you can all sit down now. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about mentoring. I have 20 years experience in the Department of Corrections and working with inmates. I've worked with youthful offenders and I've worked with adult offenders. I was 5 years the chaplain in a woman's prison, and I now went back to working with juveniles because they are our future generation. How many care about our future generation? And we're losing our kids. We're really losing them. We talked tonight about, the panel talked tonight about guarding your mind and your body and your heart. And our young children, especially the girls, don't know how to do that. They don't know how. They're missing a parent. Life is hard out there. I've heard so many stories. 98% of the women that are in prison right now were molested as small children. They didn't know how to deal with the pain, or nobody believed them, or they were afraid to tell or threatened not to tell. So they turned to drugs and alcohol, and they end up eventually in prison. There's a lot of young girls sitting right now out on Columbus Drive. There's close to 100 young ladies out there, and they need mentors very, very badly. I want to tell you a little bit about mentoring. Mentoring is a matter of trust, a structured and trusting relationship that brings young people together with caring and accountable individuals who offer guidance, support, and encouragement aimed at developing the young person's competence, self-esteem, and character. And why is it important? Because sobering statistics are real. At-risk children and adolescents desperately need guidance and mentors to reserve these trends. 57% of African American children have at least one parent in prison. Every day, more than 1,000 African American teenagers are arrested. 7% of all African American babies are born to young women under the age of 18. 85% of African American children are reading below grade level. Mentoring statistics, making a measurable difference. National studies have shown that mentoring programs decrease illegal drug use by 46%, alcohol consumption by 27%, and school truancy by 53%. Mentored students increase their grades by 59% and increase their aspirations and goals by 79%. That's a lot. I can give you more of that, but there's a mentoring program that's available, and I encourage you to sign up. I left a paper out at the chosen table where you signed in. If you're interested, you'll get total training. The great thing about this program is you have to make 4 contacts a month with these girls, with whatever girl you get matched up with, but only one has to be in person. So 1 time a month, you have to make a trip out to the detention center to see this young lady. And visiting hours are on Saturdays and Sundays, and I believe 1 evening during the week, but I'm not sure. I can clarify that. So 1 visit you make to sit with them. You don't have to do a Bible study. You don't have to be a Bible scholar. You can take a game. You can take Uno cards. You can build a puzzle with them, whatever, and you go out and you visit with them. 3 times you have to make contact with them, either by an arranged phone call or send them a card or a letter. And it's easy. It's easy. And when they are let go from there, a mentor is allowed to keep contact with them. I mentored a young lady 7 years ago. She was in Falkenberg in the jail. When I went to see her, she wouldn't even make eye contact with me. Her hair was all in her face. And every time I went, I would talk to her and I would tell her how beautiful she was, that God created her to be beautiful. And I would push her hair back off her face and say, I want to see your eyes, Yahida. Let me see your face. And I would tell her how gorgeous she was. And about 2 months later, she started coming and her hair would be braided back off of her face. And she started making eye contact with me. And I don't expect anybody to do what I did, because I did what God told me to do, and God's not going to speak to everybody in the same way. But I adopted this child and I brought her home to live with me. And this baby had never had a Christmas, never. She turned 17 the day I brought her home with me. And that Christmas, I bought her baby dolls because she had never had one. She never ate in a restaurant. She thought eating in a soup line at the Salvation Army was eating in a restaurant. She never had a birthday party. All of these things. She ended up having to do a little bit of time in prison, but this young lady got her cosmetology degree. She's 21 years old now. She's living on her own, and she's successful. I wanted her to be here tonight, but she's living in Bradenton now. But she always tells me, Mom, if you didn't come and you weren't obedient to God, I don't know where I would be right now, because I needed somebody to mentor me. Nobody ever told her she was beautiful. Nobody ever told her she was worth anything. Nobody ever told her that God would forgive her for the things that she did. She thought she was a wretched little girl. because that's what she was told. And that's what a lot of these kids are told. You are no good. You're going to be just like your mama. Your mama wasn't any good, and you're not going to be any good. You're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to make it. And this is what they're told, and this is what they believe. Has anybody ever been there? I mean, honestly, be honest. I was there. It was only by the grace of God that I'm standing here right now. When I went to the prison, I told those women, I've been there, done that. I have all your t-shirts hanging in my closet. The only difference is I never got caught. So we've all been there. We all have something that we can share with these young ladies that are sitting out there. We all have something that we can share. And if you can't share anything, you can just love them. We all know how to love, or we wouldn't be at Crossover. So we all know how to love. So if you have some love in your heart that you want to share, please sign up. There's a sign-up sheet out there. I'll be picking it up from Miss Lucy on Sunday. And in March, the beginning of March, I will call you. I will be in touch with you. And we will have the ladies, the people that run this detention center, are under a program called Jesus for Juveniles, and they will come here to Crossover and do a training. They will do a complete and total training, and they will do your fingerprints right here and your background check right here, and you will be cleared, and you will be paired up with a beautiful young woman that you can make a difference in her life. And there's nothing like it when you see the fruit that comes from just sharing some love with these young ladies. So I hope that you will make a decision to take this step and do something to help somebody else. It doesn't take that much time. And they are so wonderful. You know, you think, oh, they're convicts and I don't want to, I'm scared, but it's not like that. They're just like you and me. They're just like our teenagers that come here to the movement. There's no difference. They just got caught doing something that we probably all did at one time, So thank you so much for letting me share, Miss Lucy. And I hope that you'll take the time to do that. I love you guys, and I hope I can come back to Chosen one time, but I am going to the retreat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Diane. Thanks so much. Well, just like she was talking about what you can do right now, back in the 80s, a lady named Margaret Palmer had a dream. She would go to the prison and she would sit with women and she would chat with them. She'd tell them about the love of Jesus. She'd tell them about things that they can do when they got out. That dream became something larger than herself. She now runs a place called the Hillsborough House of Hope. It was featured this Sunday on Channel 13. You're going to see that clip. And tonight, the jewelry that's left over and accessories that's left over tonight will be donated to the Hillsborough House of Hope. But most of all, we want you to see what mentoring can really bring. Watch the clip.
Home. It's a safe haven to regroup and recharge after the day's triumphs and troubles. But for those re-entering society after spending time behind bars, there may be no home to go back to. That's where the Hillsborough House of Hope steps in. We take you inside the transitional home in this week's Faith in Action. From the outside, it looks like just another Seminole Heights home. But once you walk in the Hillsborough House of Hope, you know it's something special.
It means the world to me, this place. The world.
It's a halfway house for women fresh out of jail. The goal isn't just to house the 6 roommates, they're here to heal. Each woman is hand-selected while they're still behind bars.
And we interview them while they're there. And the chosen ones, the day they're released, we pick them up, we bring them here, and we began to pour all of the positive life-on-life turn things into them.
During their 6-month stay, the ladies learn how to get back on their feet and stay there. Each day is packed to the brim with health appointments, counseling, and job interviews. Every task is focused on their future.
It is very important with these women that we let them know that it's important to prioritize your life. Set things in order. Make a schedule every week and you turn it into the program manager so I can guide them and show them the right way to do this.
And faith is a cornerstone to their transformation.
They all sit at the table in the mornings, they pray, and each one of them reads a positive affirmation for the day.
And it's working. Over its 12-year history, the Hillsborough House of Hope has a 60% success rate.
It gave me all the hope, the initiative to turn my life around and be a full person in society again. I was always, never thought I could change. And this house changed me.
For a long time, I didn't believe in myself. So for someone to believe in me, it gave me some hope.
It's a sisterhood that's proved stronger than any addiction, crutch, or crime, enabling dozens of women to start living again.
It has the best name, House of Hope, because I'll tell you, that's just what it is.
The Hillsborough House of Hope was founded back in 2002 by Margaret Palmer of South Tampa. The 88-year-old is still very much involved in the program's mission to this day.
Hi, ladies. It's pretty hard to follow that. But I just wanted to close out tonight and then give you guys some instructions for the fun swap and shop glow night. It's glow night. Where's Antoinette? Oh, there you are. She's right there. She calls it glow night, but it's like a swap and shop for me. So for tonight, you should have received, those of you that donated, a little voucher. Don't ask me why I'm in my radio voice right now. The music sounds very mellow. But if you have your voucher, you should have the pink little squares that says this is how many items you have available to swap. And you're going to look for myself, Antoinette, Lucy, anybody that looks official. And they're going to, not Lulu. And they're going to mark you off for your item. Come back, Lulu. Well, official. You're officially a DJ. Just kidding. Okay. So, and then for those of you that are not partaking in the swap and shop, feel free to snap some photos and, as always, post them on the Chosen Facebook page. And you can partake of our yummy, yummy, delicious goodness. And Lynette, thank you. Thank you for the help because I need it. Provided by Miss Lynette, so you know it's absolutely delicious. So please make sure to stop over there and enjoy it. And then I'm going to close out with a scripture that God brought me to tonight, knowing that we were going to talk about guarding our mind, body, and our hearts. And for me, of course, I can relate to all three women at different phases and stages in my life. But the one that I'm really struggling with now, and I've kind of always struggled with, and Lucy knows because Lucy's my accountability. So, I'm going to read the scripture and then I'll share a little bit and then we'll close out in prayer. But the scripture is Romans 6:12, and it says, "Do not let sin control the way you live. Do not give in to sinful desires. Do not let any part of your body become an instrument of evil to serve sin." I encourage you to finish that scripture because it's really great. But I'm going to stop there because we talk about guarding our minds, our bodies, and more importantly on our bodies, about purity and our hearts. For me, it's my tongue and the thoughts that come out of my mouth. So I'm going to encourage you, ladies, that everything that I gathered from the women here tonight was more about intention. So they chose to intentionally focus on guarding their minds. They made a choice to intentionally focus on creating boundaries to guard their bodies. They were intentional about guarding their hearts because they know how valuable it is. So please remember that you are beautiful, that you matter. You matter because God intentionally chose to send Jesus Christ for you. All right, so let's bow your heads and pray. Father God, we just thank you for another month of getting together and just be together with your daughters in this beautiful setting and remind your daughters how amazing they are because you created them in your image. God, I thank you for all the women that made it out here in the rain and that you got us here safely, Father, and everyone that's here that's serving, to our media and to Lulu and everyone that's here that wants to just provide a beautiful service so that we can remember who we are in you. Father God, I ask that you just penetrate our hearts, penetrate our minds, Lord. Just saturate us with your love and your Holy Spirit so that we know how valuable we are to you. We thank you for what you're doing here at Crossover and the ladies at Chosen, Father God, and ask that you just continue to use us and continue to guide us and continue to let us have a good time with one another as we finish out the night and get us home safely, Father God. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, ladies, go shop and swap and have some desserts. Oh, wait, surprise. Halt. We have some raffles. You want raffles. That means you can shop if you weren't planning on shopping. Oh, sorry, I failed in my notes. I failed. You do not have to halt. The raffles will be out there. You'll get surprised if you win, and then you can shop. Don't take what I had my eye on.